Employee Handbook, July 2020. Changes to Manual. Name. Date. Approved by HR Director. Executive Management Committee. Index. Chapter. Details. 1. Introduction. 2. Employee Handbook. 3. Role of HR Department. 4. Employer Company Overview. 5. Recruitment and Selection. 6. Induction Policy. 7. New Hire Orientation. 8. Equality Policy. 9. Standard of Business Conduct. 10. Dress Code. 11. Internet and Email Usage Policy and Guidelines. 12. Information Security Guidelines. 13. Mobile Phone and BlackBerry Policy. 14. Company Keys. 15. Performance Appraisal Policy. 16. Controlling Absence Policy. 17. Health and Safety Policy. 18. Leave Policy. 19. Absence Policy. 20. Disciplinary Procedures. 21. Disciplinary Actions. 22. Grievances and Complaints. 23. Termination of Service. 24. Business Entertainment Policy. 25. Business Travel and Expense Reimbursement Policy. 26. Investor Relations Team Policy. 27. Financial Assistance Policy. 28. Human Resources Forms. Introduction. Employer is a dynamic place to work that offers an enriching career. The employees of employer are its most valuable resources. Therefore, this handbook has been prepared to introduce a new employee to employer. It will acquaint the employee with the policies that apply to employment with the company. The Employee Handbook explains the policies and procedures of employer and forms an integral part of the contract between the company and the employee. The document is intended for all the employees of employer and supersedes all previous employee manuals and memos that may have been issued from time to time on subjects covered in this manual. However, since our business and our organization are subject to change, we reserve the right to interpret, change, suspend, cancel, or dispute with or without notice all or any part of our policies, procedures, and benefits at any time. We will notify all employees of these changes. Changes will be effective on the dates determined by the company, and after those dates all superseded policies will be null. The handbook contains only generic information and procedures. It is not intended to be comprehensive or to address all the possible applications of, or exceptions to employer policies and procedures. If there are any questions concerning the applicability of a policy or eligibility for a particular benefit, it is advisable to refer to the relevant policy manual or address specific questions to the Human Resources Department. The procedures, practices, and policies described here may be modified or discontinued anytime. The handbook may be updated from time to time without prior notice. Employer expressly reserves the right to change any of its policies, including those covered here, at any time. These changes will be communicated to all employees by appropriate means. Finally, this handbook and the information within should be treated as a confidential document. No portion of this handbook should be disclosed to others, except employer employees and others affiliated with employer whose knowledge of the information is required in the normal course of business. Employee Handbook. This employee handbook is provided as a central reference for all senior and executive management, line managers, supervisors, and employees and applies to staff across all locations where the company carries out its work. The HR policy documents the philosophy of Employer Capital Limited with regard to standards of excellence, terms of employment, employee development, and employee services. Additionally, the policies and procedures contained herein relate to all employees of Employer Capital Group of companies, as well as other applicable group companies, as added from time to time. The Employee Handbook is subject to change from time to time to reflect changes in the workforce, employment trends, economic conditions, and regulatory environment. However, any changes in policy will be consistent with the company's approach to employing talented individuals whose creativity and imagination will support and contribute to achieving the company's business objectives. Communicating company standards and expectations in all aspects of employment, including performance. Valuing diversity, and assure equal employment opportunity in a workplace where relationships are based on mutual respect. Treating all staff, workers, contractors, and customers in a professional, non-discriminatory manner. Providing safe, effective working conditions, and providing competitive terms and conditions in our workplace market. Any policy changes communicated to all staff through normal communication channels. The Employee Handbook will also be updated, at least annually, or more frequently as required, and implementation will be effective following approval of the changes by the Board of Directors, BOD. CEO and Founder. Role of Human Resources Department. The Human Resource Department, HRD, shall be responsible for the application and implementation of all human resources policies and provisions stipulated in this Employee Handbook. The concerned head in each department shall consult with the Human Resources Department regarding technical issues related to human resources. The Human Resources Department shall perform all duties assigned to it pursuant to this Employee Handbook. The Human Resources Department shall be responsible for reviewing and proposing updates to the legislation regulating human resources and for its evaluation after its application, as well as for reviewing the recommendations and complaints of employees relating to human resources. In this respect, the Human Resources Department shall act as a reference authority. Each department is responsible to review and understand the human resources policies and apply them fairly and consistently among employees to create a performance-driven and progressive culture. They should refer to the HRD for interpretation of the policies. Employer Capital, an overview. Employer Capital Limited, employer, is an exempted company incorporated with limited liability in the Cayman Islands in order to provide fundraising and advisory services and access the opportunities provided primarily in alternative investments in the Middle East and North Africa region, for individuals and entities wishing to participate in such markets. It has established Employer Capital Management Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary in the Dubai International Financial Center and regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority under a Category 3C license. Important note, the policies and procedures in this handbook relate to all employees of Employer Capital and Employer Capital Management Limited, as well as other applicable group companies, as added from time to time. Employer believes there are tremendous investment opportunities in the MENA region. These opportunities result from supportive macroeconomic and demographic fundamentals, potential to restructure family-owned businesses, local companies' intention to expand regionally, and consolidation prospects in certain sectors.